Nearly 2 years into his term, President Joe Biden still does not have a fully staffed FCC, nor is there a chairperson for that FCC. And it's not because Biden hasn't nominated one. No, in fact, Biden had nominated one, and she's actually a fantastic pick, progressive, and of course, that's why he's not been confirmed. So now, part of that, of course, is the reason that she has not been confirmed is partly on Chuck Schumer, but also on Republicans and groups that are funding Republicans to block. So now the person who's been nominated is Gigi Sohn. And again, she's progressive, she's LGBTQ, she's basically a lot of the things that Republicans don't like. So now, the reason that they're telling you that they're blocking her is, woke ideology. She's woke, and she hates the police and all that stuff. But in reality, of course, we know why they're blocking her. It's for one simple reason. It's all about the money. Money, Lebowski. So now, according to the Washington Post, conservative groups have been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars attacking Gigi Sohn. So now, according to a review by Technology 202, in the past year, conservative nonprofits, allegedly, the American Accountability Foundation, hilarious, and the Center for a Free Economy, also hilarious, because again, they're lobbying against a FCC commissioner that would actually try to encourage competition among internet providers. And I'll get to that, okay? But they've been spending at least $246,000 in the past year in Facebook ads alone opposing Sohn. That's just on digital ads, just on Facebook. Those paid messages, by the way, have had quite a bit of reach. They've been shown to at least they've been shown to users at least 14.8 million times. And again, as I mentioned, those ads are saying, Gigi Sohn wants to defund the police. And, okay, for one, so? But for two, the FCC has literally no power to defund police. So why would her alleged personal views, right? And it's just based on her liking certain posts. Why would that matter at all? Why would her nomination to serve on the FCC matter to cops? The Fraternal Order of Police literally is like, we do not support Gigi Sohn. You should vote against her. She hates police. Has nothing to do with their job at all. And again, she's only liked things on social media, for example, calls to defund unlawful police surveillance tactics, that are turning us into a literal police state. So that would track to her actually believing in privacy as well, which is important on the internet. But all right. Anyway, it's all BS, of course. The reasons that these groups are, backed by big, or the reality, I should say, are these so-called nonprofit groups are funded by big telecommunications companies, lobbyist groups, and they don't want things like net neutrality. They don't want, competition in broadband. They don't want consumer protections. They don't want a fully funded, or I should say fully staffed FCC. And it's because the changes that would be made would protect consumers, and that would hurt future profit margins. And so what's fascinating here is about how much they have actually targeted Gigi Sohn. And again, I just mentioned $246,000 in just Facebook ads. We don't know. There's been a blitz of spending against her in other mediums as well. In fact, Jeff Hauser, founder of the progressive watchdog group Revolving Door Project, said the spending makes the campaign among the most sprawling of any targeting a Biden pick. They have focused fire on Gigi Sohn. That's amazing. In fact, he said, it's relatively rare that you see this kind of effort, said Hauser, whose group tracks federal appointments and the battles over their confirmations. And he also said it was rare for a single commissioner or regular to face this level of opposition. And he said that the Facebook campaigns are likely just a fraction total money spent, given that there are many forms of spending which do not create a financial trail. And so, of course, he's talking about dark money, the darkest of the dark. But look, honestly, transparency, these companies, they're lobbyists, they hate transparency. They hate when people see what they're doing. Because look, when it comes down to it, these big companies, and you have Comcast and you have Charter, among some of the other companies, AT&T, that don't want you to know that they are trying, that they are lobbying and using their money to make sure that they can screw you over. Make it so that you don't have any competitors to go to. Make it so that you actually have slower internet at a higher price than the rest of the world. This is what they're doing. This impacts you greatly. How come it affects the fact that you see, your cable bill, your internet bill continue to increase year by year, where you have these hidden, bullshit fees that pop up that seemingly out of nowhere. Like, what the hell is this? You read your bill and you're like, what are these added fees? I don't even know what this is about. But you're paying more because these corporations are lobbying these politicians to allow them to be deregulated so they can do and charge whatever they want. And that's a disaster, an absolute disaster. So that said, Republicans, obviously they're going to be against Gigi Sohn because they're 100% owned by business interests. But there's another group. You're not going to be surprised by this. Former Democrats turned lobbyists. Sohn's nomination has also been opposed by the One Country Project. This is a group founded by former Democratic Senators Heidi Heitkamp and Joe Donnelly. Again, incredibly conservative corporate Democrats. They announced back in April a 6-figure ad campaign against Sohn, arguing that she is the wrong choice for the FCC in rural America. You know why? Because she would actually, rule against my donors, the people that give me money. So now I want to address her argument about rural America, because right now, rural America, odds are, look, if you're sitting in rural America and you're watching this, well, God bless, right? That's if you can get through the buffering, because odds are your internet is shit, garbage, trash, slow, and unreliable. There's a reason for that, and it's these companies. According to a 2020 report by the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, Comcast and Charter maintain a monopoly over 68 million people. And their monopoly, notice we have a country of 330 million people, and it's because Comcast and Charter do not serve many rural communities. You're very, very lucky if you're living in a rural community and you're actually able to get internet, and broadband internet specifically, and not at an exorbitant price. These rural areas, as I said before, if you're not covered by Comcast and Charter, you generally have dial-up, DSL, or satellite, things like that, which are significantly slower than cable and fiber. Now, AT&T, for example, in an example of how they have ignored rural America, AT&T installed fiber or at least broadband level speeds in many areas where it happens to compete against cable companies. Where the cable companies are not at, which again, i.e. rural areas, it hasn't really bothered to install this internet. They're missing out on a marketing opportunity to be able to cover these underserved areas, and they've decided, no, we're not going to do that. We don't care. If we're not going to make money, then we don't care. So, Heitkamp's group, you're not going to be shocked to find out that some of her biggest donors are against Sohn and, basically having a fully staffed FCC. According to the American Prospect, she had support from tech companies, and I'm talking about Heitkamp's group, Google, and banking such as Goldman Sachs. While she was in the Senate, and Comcast and AT&T were among her 20 top donors. She also received over $107,000 in donations from the telecom industry in the 2018 cycle when she had lost election. So it's very important to note here that after she lost and created one country, that was started with money left over from Heitkamp's Senate campaign account. So she was able to take that money donated from these large corporations and to then create this group, again, funded by Comcast and AT&T, to create a group that is doing the bidding of Comcast and AT&T. Well, wow, what a coincidence, right? What a coincidence. Weird how that works out. In addition, staffers for one country include members of the lobbying firm Forbes Tate, whose clients feature telecoms like Verizon, T-Mobile, Frontier Communications, as well as the Internet and Television Association. Excuse me. A leading telecom trade group. Weird. So these groups are swimming in industry cash. And while one country spends it against Republicans, generally, they are also still trying to continue Trump-era policies when it comes to regulating the telecom industry. So here you have corporate Democrats and Republicans together trying to stop Gigi Sohn and flooding the airways with, of course, nonsense attack ads. In fact, Facebook ads mentioning Sohn were dominated by messages opposing her nomination, according to the Washington Post review. There was one group, however, that did take out ads that were backing her. And that was, unsurprisingly, the Communication Workers of America, who bought at least $52,000 in Facebook ads backing Sohn. Those messages were shown, unfortunately, only 2.8 million times, compared to the 14.3 million times that the anti-Sohn ads. So, look, the labor unions being massively outspent by corporate trade groups. So now, here's the thing. We know that we're running out of time. You know who else knows? Senate. Chop, chop, everybody. Chuck Schumer, what are you doing? You sitting on this one too? Look, Senate Democrats have a chance to confirm Sohn before their session expires at the end of the year. If they don't, they're going to have to deal with additional problems. They nominate her again. Which, if they don't succeed in this nomination, what's to prevent Biden from then going back and nominating someone who is, well, more industry friendly? And that's the concern here. So what I'm asking for is just a pressure campaign. It might work, it might not. But maybe we should, at least let them know this is a great pick. We're not buying what these trade groups and these corporations are selling us. We want Chuck Schumer this minute, today, or at least before the clock runs out. Bring her up for a confirmation vote. That's it. That's it. The hurdle right now, yes, as I mentioned, Republicans are a gigantic hurdle on this in their trade groups. But the big one here is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. He controls the floor vote. He did not return requests for comment, by the way, on whether he intends to take up her nomination before the end of the year, which tells you exactly what he wants to do. What he would like to do is just ignore it. But if enough people pester him in a polite way, of course, call his office and ask him to bring up a vote, it might be enough to push him, to force him to do so. Now, the White House also did not return a request for comment, which means also Biden might be running out the clock as well. Look, if you care about having lower cable bills, if you care about having faster speeds, you care about net neutrality, which is still not, it's still not back in place. We still do not have net neutrality, which was one of Biden's promises, by the way. You might want to pressure him. You might want to pressure Schumer and the rest of the Democrats. Of course, pressuring Republicans, damn thing. Bring this up for a vote so that we can actually confirm Gigi Sohn and have a functional FCC for once.